Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. Thanks so much for listening. A big thank you to Jesse L.E. for our theme music and Nick Harmio for our artwork. And a thank you to our guest this week, Dan Nolen. Hey, we love that you're listening and we hope that you're enjoying, and we'd love a rating or review if you got the time to do that. Just jump on iTunes and head on over and give us a little rating there. 5 out of 5 would be super. But hey, if that's not how you feel, I mean, you got to be honest. So write a review. Tell us why. Tell us if you like it, why you like it. If you don't like it, why you don't like it, those types of things. Send us an email if you want to do that, or head on over to our link tree. That's linktr.ee/drunkardswalk and get access to everything you need. All right, that's it. Enjoy the show, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkard's Walk, the podcast. This is Jethro Nolen, one of your two hosts on this fine and dandy podcast that you have either chosen to listen to or the great algorithm has foisted upon you. And either way, welcome. But of course, a one-person podcast would be quite boring, so I need my partner in crime. I need my compadre, a brother of sorts, if you will, Mr. Matt Hartman. Matt, welcome.
Oh, Jethro, I'll do it.
Oh, thank God. If you turn me down, it would be really awkward.
No, I would never. I love it. I love being your co-host on this journey that we call a podcast.
I mean, but there are a lot of different kind of podcasts, Matt. What makes Drunkard's Walk so special?
It's tough to say what the exact element of it is that makes it special. Maybe it is the interplay between you and I. Perhaps it is the starting at a random Wikipedia page and venturing through using only the links to another random Wikipedia page, or maybe Jethro, it's the listener and the moment in which they are listening somehow is it's almost like, how you can't predict like where a particle is and the speed of the particle at the same time.
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Right. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's just that you can't put your finger on exactly what it is that makes it so special.
Well, that's beautifully phrased, or
maybe not. I don't know. It could just be whatever.
It seems like you're sucking up to the listener a little bit.
Am I? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's possible.
The listener, just for you, you're contributing nothing to this. You're not in any way making this podcast different, because
I don't think that's true. I think that there's an impact from the from the outside. The listener or the viewer of the art brings something to it, and that affects the art itself, right?
I don't know. I'm not thinking about the listener at all when we do this. I'm thinking about feeding you and doing things in Wikipedia and trying to find my way back to Pliny the Elder, if we can.
Sure. And who can blame you for that? I recently saw a reference to Pliny the Elder online, and I thought, oh gosh, man, we haven't seen him in forever here on the podcast. So
today could be the day, but that's all going to depend on the destination that we're headed to, because we know where we're starting. We're starting at the ending point of the last episode, but we need a destination, and who better to give it than another one of my brothers? This one more of an actual biological brother, my eldest brother, Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Howdy.
Thank you for that Texan greeting.
Well, you know me.
Here we go. So my brother Dan and I, actually, we're both physically located in our childhood home here in Arlington, Texas. Although we were recording this from separate rooms, as is the method of podcasts.
I mean, that's
somebody's in timeout.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens, right? And so,
I've been sent to my room, but fortunately I've been sent to my room with bourbon, which was usually not the case when I was younger. So
bourbon and a computer with an internet connection. I think it's just a poor choice all around.
I'm going to get in a lot of trouble tonight.
Yeah. I would assume so. Well, Dan, thanks so much for coming on and joining us. We appreciate you being willing to do this, and the fact that you're both in the same physical location is great. That means that if Jethro does the wrong thing, you can just go in and like sock him in the arm or something like that. Did you guys do that when you were growing up? Did you do a lot of like physical, 2 for flinching type of thing?
I mean, we didn't do that specifically, but there were multiple occasions when I caused injuries to my dear younger brother, which I now
Indeed,
regret.
indeed, there were, and let's not forget the psychological damage as well. Like it wasn't just physical.
Oh, goes without saying.
Here we go.
Let's make sure that's on the
It's
list as
bonus.
well.
Indeed.
Don't want to forget any of that. Well, that's great. That's great. What, Dan?
Fortunately, our visit has been injury free thus far. So I'm really
well. I mean,
Dan and
so far,
Dan and I are turning a new page in our relationship. So that's nice.
I mean, it's been 2 whole hours.
Well, then that's pretty good. I'd say that's a pretty good record so far. Speaking of 2, it's been 2 whole seasons since we've seen you, Dan, here on the Drunkard Talk podcast, and I believe the last time you were here, you gave us a suggestion of Trilon. Which was new to me. I didn't know that was the name of that particular thing. So, folks, if you want to know more about that, go back to season 6. Check out episode 4. It looks like that was the last time that Dan was on here. But what have you been up to since we last spoke, Dan? Anything fun?
Yeah, still retired. And in fact, my clue today, my destination today, has something to do with what I've been up to in the interim.
Oh,
very exciting. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Do tell.
By all means, yeah. What's it? What is it?
Today's destination is Pena Palace.
Can you spell Pena?
Pena.
And what can you tell us about Pena Palace? I've never heard of it.
Pena Palace is the largest palace in the city of Sintra, Portugal, which is just outside of Lisbon. And it is one of approximately half a dozen castles located in Sintra, 3 of which I visited last August, including Pena Palace.
Oh, I see. And so what was it about this particular palace that had it stick in your mind for so long? What was, I mean, aside from being the largest?
Well, it's one has to ration one's time when visiting Sintra to depending on how many palaces you intend to visit, and determines how long you can stay at each palace.
Mm-hmm.
And you either have to walk between the palaces, as I did, or you have to wait in line for the buses. And since I was there during the summer, there was a lot of tourist activity clogging up the bus stops. So I ended up walking between the 3 palaces I visited. But it's large, multicolored. So it's very bright. There's an inside, like a self-guided outside you can do, and then you can pay extra to tour the inside. But the line for the inside was too long, so I just toured the outside and took loads of pictures.
And other than its location in Portugal, are there historical events or figures that grant it greater importance, or architectural facts? Because getting there just by going to Portugal is going to be verboten, because we have a long-standing rule about geographical links. So I'm looking for another way in other than that.
I see. Well, as my interest in it was mainly as a tourist, I could perhaps peek and read a summary of it, but I do not have in mind any specific historical provenance.
Gotcha. And I mean, I would assume just by doing the self-guided outside tour, probably didn't pick up a whole lot as far as that is concerned either.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
That's going to be exciting for us then.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a real challenge for sure.
Sorry, I didn't know about your geographic rule.
No, it's okay. I mean, we've been known to bend that rule from time to time, if so called on. So perhaps we could do that. I know I've heard that name before, but I think there was a player for the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the 80s who had a name. It was spelled like that, but it was pronounced differently. It was
Alberto Pena.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Pena is a common Spanish surname, but of course in Portugal they speak Portuguese, and so right. Pena it would be spelled differently. They don't have the N with a tilde on it in Portuguese.
There you go. So it's the lack of the tilde that leads to it just being pronounced that way. Yeah, Tony Pena was a catcher for the Pirates during the time that they were like, when they were good back in the day when they lost to the Braves. Well, anyway, I'm not going to wax on about the when the Pirates used to be good, but well, this is fascinating. So, and this is a palace. This was obviously like royalty lived there, but we don't know when they lived there or why. You said there were 3 palaces in the same city?
I believe there are about 6 palaces. I visited
palaces.
3 of them during my visits.
Okay. But we don't know, like, was this the ruling family of Portugal at the time, or was this just some royal family?
Skimming the article, it appears that it has been used by multiple people throughout the years, and has a mix of architectural styles making up the palace, reflecting its long history.
Gotcha. Now, Jethro, you've never been there. Have you ever been to Portugal at all?
I've never been to Portugal, but I hear lovely things. So
I've
now,
not either.
Sintra is not the capital. That's Lisbon, right?
Lisbon, right? Yeah.
So correct. It is a short train ride from Lisbon to Sintra, about an hour.
Okay.
There you go. Do we know if Lisbon has always been the capital?
Ooh, we don't.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't know either.
We're going to learn a lot about Portugal today.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about our ignorance too, I think.
Yeah, well, we do that every week. So
yeah, well, it's part of the podcast.
We might have extra ignorance today, so
it's certainly possible. Well, this is interesting. I mean, I don't know that this is going to be interesting to get to, Jethro. It has been a while since we have had a topic that we have had
so little information about?
Like back in the day, we used to get topics and not talk to the people who were even giving us topics. So we knew nothing at all. Like at some points, we didn't even know what it was. At least with this, we know it's a palace. We know it's in Portugal. So I think we do have a little bit to go on here.
There we go.
That is going to be able to help us out.
You know, it's named after a Pittsburgh Pirate.
No, that's not correct. It's spelled differently. It's got a different N.
It's a Portugal pirate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, this is awesome. So this is our destination now. That will be part of our walk. But what about the drunkard part, Jethro? What are we doing about that tonight?
Fortunately, we have prepared in advance by stocking our childhood home with lots of various liquors. So when we stop by, we always have something to drink. Dan, what are you having?
Well, I'm not nearly as manly as the two of you fine connoisseurs. So I've just got a little bit of Fireball.
Well, that's the traditional drink at the Nolen residence, as I recall.
And the irony of it is, it's always bought by the one brother, the brother who's not on the call. So, but don't worry, he doesn't listen to the podcast. So I'm pretty sure when we had him on, he called you out on the fact that it was missing when he returned. I think he only listened because he was going to be a guest. I don't think he's a regular consumer. And Mick, if I'm wrong, my apologies. But then again, I've already insulted the entirety of our audience this episode.
It's true. Jethro, are you also drinking Fireball?
I am not drinking Fireball because I have some leftover Woodford Reserve from my last birthday. So that is what I'm having here.
Nice.
And I brought the bottle into my room just because I thought the meager glass that I poured was not going to be enough to get me through the episode. So
you never know. Yeah, I understand that.
Indeed. And what about you, Matthew? Are you having a beverage?
I am tonight. I have a new one. It is not a bourbon. It's a Tennessee whiskey.
Oh,
it's a Jack Daniel's, but it's the Jack Daniel's Bonded, which is a fairly new deal. So it's a 100 proof, and it's pretty good. I like it quite a bit. Instead of the old traditional twist cap of your Jack Daniel's, it's got an actual cork.
Wow,
you like that?
That is
Foley work.
We gotta. Who's doing our Foley work these days?
It's pretty great, but it's real good. It's real tasty. I mean, I'm a Jack Daniel's fan. I know there's a lot of people who turn up their nose at Jack Daniel's, but I like when I'm mixing, that's what I'll mix with, and I like their single barrel The barrel strength is really good. It's one of the highest. I think I have one that's like 128 proof or something crazy like that. And this stuff, the bonded, is quite good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So cheers to Jack Danielson, and cheers to both of you as well,
Stop.
Nolen brothers.
Stop.
Thank you.
Prost.
Indeed.
And the Bragg brothers to the Nolen brothers. There we go.
Dan, I appreciate the challenge that you've laid before us. I appreciate the scant amount of information that you've provided about our destination, and I look forward to figuring out how it is that we can get there.
I can't wait to hear it.
Sadly,
Thanks,
you have to, because you are not a member of our Patreon, so you do not get early access to the episodes. So
early access. Yeah, we don't give early access to our Patreon subscribers. But if you do want to join our Patreon, you do get access to seasons 1 and 2, everybody. So go ahead and head on over to patreon.com/drunkardswalk-podcast.
I'm just going to keep inventing new Patreon premiums until it tricks people into subscribing to us.
It'll be nice if it does. You can also, Jethro, if you want to, you can go on and add whatever you want. I've just done the amount of work that I'm going to do. So that's the level it's going to be at.
That sounds like work.
That's enough. Yeah. Okay. I figured that was probably the case.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Dan. And we'll eager for us all to jointly discover the path it takes to get us from our starting point, which is the North Korean propaganda film, Let Us Cut Our Hair in Accordance with the Socialist Style. Is that correct?
Let's trim our hair in accordance with the Socialist Lifestyle.
Yes, which will be our starting point. Yeah, that's
good title.
That's a doozy. That is. Yep. I watched some of that on YouTube, and man, that North Korean propaganda is the tops.
Yeah, as propaganda goes, boy, they sure do know their audience.
Indeed.
Well, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple more seasons.
All right, take care.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, Matt, we've got our starting point. We've got our ending point. We've enumerated our beverages, and now we must enumerate our guests for how many we think it will take us to get from a North Korean haircutting propaganda film to a Portuguese palace about which we know virtually nothing.
So let me ask you this before I write down my guest, Jethro.
Yeah.
Are we going to allow ourselves to go through any sort of geographical route today? If we're not, it's going to change my guess pretty significantly.
I don't know. I've already written down my guess, so I answered even without that information. Like, I don't. All right. Although I will say, I don't know how we can not, given that one of the few facts we know about this thing is that it's in Sintra, Portugal.
Right. It feels like we're going to need to. So I'm going to guess, assuming that we can. Although we will try not to, right? Obviously,
I feel like we at least owe the listener, again, whom I've completely discounted as adding any kind of value whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we at least owe them an honest effort to try to get there without going geographic right away, which would be a kind of admission of failure.
I agree 100%. So let's see what we can do, not geographically, from this initial page, which I have a feeling is going to be a bit of a challenge. But hey, let's check it out. Let's see what we've got here. So we're starting on, again, let's trim our hair in accordance with the Socialist Lifestyle. And as Jethro pointed out, is a television program broadcast on state-run Korean Central Television in North Korea between 2004 and 2005. So it was a television program. I think last week we talked about it and said it might have been a film, but I think it looks like it's a television program. It was on for a whole year.
Indeed. Yeah. There is a link here to beard and haircut laws by country under the sea also.
Well, that seems very geographical right away. So let's see if we can find a way.
But it's got a is it tonsorial element to it? Is that am I correctly?
I'm not sure what word you're trying to say. So maybe, yes, you could be definitely right.
The tonsorial arts, isn't that what a haircutter, a highfalutin way of referring to a haircutter?
Could be. Yeah. Sure. I believe you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'd never heard the word before, and that's not a surprise to anyone. So yeah, it is a possibility. I also see Western Hemisphere on here.
I mean, that feels even more directly.
It is. Jeans is on here. Bouffant is on here. Crew cut. I like to see that up in here. A lot of hair-related things. Hidden camera. I see hidden camera on here.
I see human intelligence.
Do you? Where? Show me.
Just on the Wikipedia page.
Doesn't seem reasonable. Yeah, I see that too. I see. And it just takes you to intelligence. So we could finally get some intelligence. That'd be nice.
But there could be like a Portuguese scientist or something who.
There could be. I was going to suggest that we go through hidden camera. And I've got no real good reason for that. I just felt like maybe hidden camera can get us into something that gets us into Portugal. Let's rack our brains here a little bit. What's Portugal known for? What's Portugal's thing?
So Portugal was didn't they have some role in Columbus's deal? Like I feel like Columbus solicited the king and queen of Portugal for money, and then he ended up going to Spain, or vice versa.
Yeah, I think he wound up sailing for Spain, so I think he probably went to Portugal first. But I think Portugal. I think you bring up a good point about Portugal, is that they were very much involved in the discovery of the quote unquote New World.
Yeah,
right.
So for that reason, capitalism is linked here.
Oh,
and I think that capitalism might get us into colonialism and that sort of thing, and there might be an interesting path to trod down that a ways.
See, now it's interesting because I would argue, and I know that Western Hemisphere sounds very geographical, but Western Hemisphere, if you're going through the exploration route, might be good for that too. But I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it's too geographical.
I mean, I feel like if we've done all this hemming and hawing about the moral impurity of immediately abandoning and going to a geographical route, that clicking on Western Hemisphere is
that's true. Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely geography.
On, beard and haircut laws by country, because we would at least learn some interesting beard and haircut law facts. Whereas with Western Hemisphere, it's just going to be like, hey, here's half the countries in the globe.
Here's the hemisphere. Yeah. What about jeans? What do you think about going through blue jeans? Because those are like a very, Western type of, not Western from like Cowboys Western, but like Western culture type of thing. Gets us on that side of the. Do you think they wore a lot of jeans in Portugal? Maybe did Columbus bring jeans to the Americas?
Columbus did not bring jeans to the Americas.
You're so sure.
Famously, because it was too hot. So he brought shorts. He brought cargo shorts.
That makes sense.
I mean, I like the idea of going through jeans generally, but I don't think it's going to get us there more quickly than capitalism would.
Yeah, that's fair.
Capitalism, because again, if we can get to Brazil or something Brazilian, then that gets us into the Portuguese language.
Yeah. Television program? You think anything through there? No, that just sounds interesting to me. Television program sounds interesting. That's the only reason I'm asking about that.
I feel like you're just trying to get to Star Trek.
I mean, any way that I can, man. Any way that I can.
Yeah. So I would say I will go to jeans if you feel very strongly about it, but my vote would be capitalism.
I don't feel strongly about it, and I'm interested to see what the capitalism page will have after we've been to we were at the socialism page last time, weren't we? Socialism.
Yeah, equal time. We got to give capitalism.
Got to give them a chance. All right, let's do it. Capitalism.
There we go.
So
capitalism is an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and their operation for profit.
That's right. It has surprisingly nothing to do with like editing documents and making sure that the right letters are uppercase versus lowercase.
Yes, that would.
Which I would have guessed by its name, but
capitalistism.
Oh, did you ever hear that about why they're called uppercase and lowercase? Did you ever hear that explanation?
Yes. And so I'll say what my guess is, and then you can correct me. I believe in the advent of the printing press, because they had to have little metal letters there where they would be able to pull those and drop them into the printing press to write out what they had. They had capital letters and non-capital letters separated into an organizational system in the printing shop, and the ones that were stored higher up in the upper case, were the capital ones, and the ones that were stored lower were in the lower case. Is that even remotely correct?
That's my understanding as well. I was under the impression that they were in a single case that opened, and the upper part of the case contained the capital letters, and the lower part of the case contained the lowercase letters. But you may be right that they were in separate things that they were being held in. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, no. And when I learned that, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I never occurred to me that it was so kind of literal. It was just, I just thought that, uppercase. Yeah, that's just what they're called. It never occurred to me.
There's a fantastic Nova series. So I don't know if you have the PBS app on your favorite streaming device.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
For a modest contribution to your local PBS station, you can get the PBS Odyssey access, which gives you access to a larger catalog of PBS related programs.
Yeah.
And a couple of seasons ago, there's a wonderful Nova series. I think it was 2 episodes of the Nova program. One that focused on the sort of advent of the letters from A to Z, and the other one that had to do with printing. And in one of the things they were talking about in the printing process was so there was paper, which, and papyrus and whatnot, but then in Europe, mostly it was parchment. It was based off of animal skins.
Mm-hmm.
And as they would turn these animal skins into bound books, the strongest part of the animal skin was along where the backbone of the animal was. So when we talk about the spine of a book, that comes from the fact that the parchment that was used to make books many years ago, the strongest part was from the spine of the animal. So it's another one of those little linguistic toys for us to
that's crazy, because that seems if somebody asked me if that was the case, if you didn't tell me that was the truth, I would be like, no, that's a lie. It's called the spine because it's on, like, it holds together everything, and it holds it goes down the middle, and just like a spine of somebody, and it's in like the back once you're opening it. Like, I would definitely have guessed it was not that. So that's fascinating.
So here we are on the capitalism page, by the way, which is huge.
It is huge.
And a lot of really interesting things on here. One of the things that I want to point out, though, is that Age of Discovery is linked here.
Okay.
I feel like is a big, and again, because Portugal was a big seafaring nation during that whole era, would be a really strong candidate for us to look at. Now, I got to look through the rest of the page, but Age of Discovery is my early favorite for the outgoing link here.
Yeah, I saw a link to the text on the page is Spain after the 1970s, but when you mouse over it, it takes you to the Spanish Miracle, which is a period of exceptionally rapid development and growth across all major areas of economic activity in Spain during the latter part of the Francoist regime. And I was thinking that if you got into that, you're getting to Spain, but not through actually Spain, right? So you're kind of getting around the geographical route. And
are we, though? It says Spain in the link.
It says Spain, but you're not going to the page for Spain, the country. You're going to the Spanish Miracle. So my point here is that if you get into something like Spain, then you wind up getting very close to Portugal and perhaps mentions of Portugal, which again, then you would have to go through geography probably.
I think the goal is just to delay the geographical link as long as possible.
Yeah, it feels that way. But I see nation, just in general, the word nation is linked. And I've heard that Portugal is indeed a nation. So that's a thing.
You see Iberian Peninsula anywhere? Because that would be really good.
I haven't yet, but I mean, I'm only about halfway down the page. So, it's certainly a possibility. There are a lot of names on this page, many of which I don't know their origin, right? So it's possible there are Portuguese names on here. So I'm kind of like selecting some of them every now and again just to see if it comes up and is like from Portugal. I haven't found one yet, but
there's got to be a famous Portuguese economist. One would presume.
You would think, right? But I haven't found one yet. I found some Germans. I found some Spanish folk, some Russians, some Austrians. Just found an Austrian. There you go. How about this guy? He's Italian. Another Italian up in here.
The Austrians have a whole school of capitalist economics.
Well, there you go. I got a French person. I got all kinds of different folks. Nobody yet from Portugal, but that's not to say that it's not going to be on here. So, I really do know very little about Portugal. And I one time met someone that spoke Portuguese, and that's all they spoke. And we had a very difficult time communicating with each other, but still tried.
Interestingly, I do see a link here to the industrial workers of the world, nicknamed the Wobblies.
Really?
I do. It's down at the bottom. There's a poster of the pyramid of the capitalist system. It's unsurprisingly not pro-capitalist, but it references the Wobblies there.
So that would have gotten us. So that's right. We went to socialism 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. We went to socialism when we were trying to get to the industrial workers of the world, right?
Indeed.
We didn't go to socialism last week. Was trying to get to. Well, did we go to socialism again last week? No.
I mean, we've been flirting with it for a long time.
Yeah, it's true. We keep keep going back and forth. I see working class, anarchist, socialist, religious, nationalist.
I do see under C also. I see Christian views on poverty and wealth, which, and this makes me think of liberation theology. Are you familiar with liberation theology?
No,
I'm not. I have a scant memory of studying a little bit of it in a philosophy of nonviolence class that I took in college. But my memory of it is that it was primarily out of South America, and I don't know if Brazil would have been involved, but that's another possibility.
Yeah, I don't. I will say that while I understand the connection between Brazil and Portugal, I would rather head toward the area of Portugal than head toward Brazil to then get to Portugal. That's personally, I'm not saying that we have to do that, nor we might not even be able to do that. But that would be my inclination, is to head more towards Portugal itself. And I think your initial idea with Age of Exploration, is that what it was?
Age of Discovery or the Age of Exploration.
Okay, I think that may be the best thing that I've seen. I've been through the whole page here now, and there's a lot of English people. There's a lot of Americans. I see. Well, look at this. There's a whole bunch of philosophers that drop down here.
Any ancient Roman philosophers, perchance?
There may be. Hold on here. Let me take a quick look through the list.
I think it's unlikely that a page on capitalism is going to refer to Pliny the Elder, but
yeah, no, it doesn't seem to. Nope. Oh, wait, you know who is on here?
Who?
Spinoza.
Ooh, Baruch Spinoza.
Yeah, from Portugal.
Is he Portuguese?
Portuguese Jewish origin, born in Amsterdam, the Dutch Republic. What? Then how is he of Portuguese Jewish origin? I always thought of him as Dutch too.
Where's the link to Spinoza?
So if you go up to the top of the page, there's a thing where it says part of a series on liberalism. And on the right-hand side, if you unhide the philosophers, you will see Spinoza on the list. So he is somehow connected to Portugal. I never thought of him as Portuguese, but there you go. That's what it says.
I knew that he lived in Amsterdam. But he was born in Amsterdam. So
yeah.
Portuguese Jewish origin. I feel like we're going to have to click on Portugal from there. Whereas Age of Discovery might have the name of a Portuguese king or prince or explorer, which would delay the eventual advent of the geographic route one more link.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, Spinoza is very cool, and I think more people should be familiar with his work. He flourished in Amsterdam because they had a very tolerant society, and he was probably what we would call today an atheist. But he was not at all a big fan of the whole religious thing. So people should know more about him, but I don't know if he's right for today.
So here's the thing. If you go below that to regional variant and unhide that, there's a link to Portugal.
Are you ready to give up?
I mean, not necessarily, but it is right there.
Of course, it's right there.
Of course, it's right there. You saw Portugal somewhere else on this page?
No, I mean, of course, it's nothing but a list of countries.
It's a list of it is a list of countries. I don't know if it takes us to the actual page for the country. It seems to take you to liberalism in that country. So now maybe every country has liberalism on its page, and that's why this is linked.
Okay, so this is a complicating factor then. So if it takes us to like liberalism in Portugal, that's one thing. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think a grand palace in the city of Sintra is going to be more associated with the age of discovery or an age of liberalism?
Interesting.
I would argue age of discovery, because I feel like liberalism is generally more attuned to fewer palaces.
I mean, you're not wrong. But I also feel like getting into something that is directly related to Portugal versus something that is going to then be related to Portugal is a quicker path. Does that not make sense?
I think Age of Discovery could get us into important political figures within Portugal without having to click on Portugal directly. And those very rich people might get us to Portuguese palaces in a way that liberalism in Portugal is unlikely to. I think Age of Discovery is the stronger path for that reason.
I see. And you don't think that we could get into this Portugal page, which the page, by the way, is not called liberalism in Portugal. I don't know what the page is, but when you hover over, it says something about liberalism. It says, since the beginning of liberalism in Portugal in the 19th century. So there's nothing like highlighted that says this is the name of the page. I don't know what page. Oh, it does. It takes you to liberalism in Portugal. If I look down to my lower left, I can actually see the link it's going to. Okay, well, then I guess you're right. Except that, no, wait, because maybe the liberalism in Portugal page has Sintra, right? That was the name of the city?
Sintra,
maybe it has that city on it.
Okay, but that's still a geographic route, Matt.
Well, how are we not going to... You really believe that we're going to get into the Age of Discovery and then not have to go through a geographic route?
I believe that the Age of Discovery will present us with more opportunities to avoid the geographic route than going to liberalism in Portugal, which will mandate the geographic route. That is what I believe. And for reasons previously stated with regard to the types of links we are likely to encounter on the Age of Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think about this. We're on the capitalism page, and there's all sorts of links to socialism and the Soviet Union and all sorts of things that are the opposite of capitalism, right? So it's very possible the liberalism page is going to have all sorts of links to royalty in Portugal.
Possibly. I mean, I hear the incredibly weak argument that you're making.
I don't think it's any weaker than your... Maybe we're going to go through the Age of Discovery and
I would ask you one question, Matt. Which page do you think is likelier to be a larger page, the Age of Discovery page or the liberalism in Portugal page?
I do think it's the Age of Discovery. I just think this is specificity, right? Liberalism in Portugal is specificity versus the more general idea of the Age of Discovery, and you always seem to be a fan of the specificity. So
okay. Stop referencing my improv workshops.
Right.
I feel like
I have my notebook here. It's all I can do.
I feel like the specificity will come into play a little bit later. I feel like we are still in the expansive. We're probably still in the first half of this episode. So.
Well, we don't have to be if we take this link right now, I think. But I tell you what, I agree. Clicking on a word that says Portugal feels very geographic. So I will relent here, and I will go to the Age of Discovery.
Yay!
If you tell me where it is, because I don't know where.
Under the history section, the second bulleted area is mercantilism. And mercantilism, the second sentence.
Yes.
The Age of Discovery.
All right.
There it is.
All right. Age of Discovery. And we are off.
Yeah, and I can already tell by the size of the scroll bar on the right-hand side that this is an incredibly Incredibly long article. And
well, if I
I will
remember all the
say,
things that I forgot from my studying in high school, I would agree with you.
so I will say that there is already the first image on the right-hand side is a replica caravel, the Caravela Veracruz, navigating the Tagus River, Lisboa,
Mm-hmm.
which is played a role in the Iberian exploration. So we've already got 3 Portuguese links right there.
Well, Lisboa takes you to Lisbon, which
Yes.
is, of course, as we said, the capital. And you'll also see Portuguese discoveries is a link over here. I see Portuguese, which takes you to the Portuguese Empire over here. So yeah, there's a lot of as we said earlier, as we thought that there would be, a lot of references to Portugal on this page, without a doubt.
Indeed.
So does Portugal have its own section in here?
So when it goes to overview, and again, remember, this is just about the Age of Discovery.
Yeah.
The first 2 words in the overview section are the Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
Began systematically exploring the Atlantic coast of Africa in 1418 under the sponsorship of Infante Dom Henrique, Prince Henry. So Prince Henry is a Portuguese prince, which could get us into Portuguese castles and such and so forth. And again, because it's a dude, it's not geographic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I also have a link here to the Siege of Lisbon, which is
has a place name in it, so that's a little more geographic.
It does have a place name in it, so I cannot argue with that. But I was just curious to see if there was a discussion of was this city ever attacked? Was Centra part of an attack of some kind? Was this actual palace destroyed and rebuilt for some reason? I don't know. There's a bunch of different architectural styles. Your brother said, so you never know.
It's certainly possible.
Could be something like that. I'm just looking to see if there's actually like a whole thing about Portugal. I mean, Portugal is talked about constantly throughout this page.
Great.
So, but I do see a lot of links to the Portuguese Empire. I don't see a lot of links to Portugal itself, but I feel like Portuguese Empire is essentially, I mean, that feels geographical too, right?
It does, but I don't hate it as an idea, because empire is going to talk about the wealth and the people in power. So, as a way of getting to the palace, that's not terrible.
It is not. Oh, so Portuguese exploration. So there's a whole section on that. Did you already look at this? Portuguese Navy, Alfonso the Fourth of Portugal. Afonso, sorry, not Alfonso, Afonso.
I'm delighted that there are that tribute to the Portuguese explorers is paid on this page, but we are trying to get inside of Portugal. So a bunch of people who explored outside of Portugal, because one of the famous things about the Portuguese explorers is that they primarily operated outside of Portugal rather than inside of Portugal.
That is true. This particular individual that I mentioned, though, Afonso the Fourth of Portugal, was the king of Portugal. He was not an explorer. So there is a link here to a king of Portugal, which again gets us into that royalty in.
Well, there is King Dinis of Portugal.
Okay. If only we knew the time period of this particular palace, that might have helped us, but we don't. So, we'll figure it out. I
feel like it's got to be somewhere, and granted, this is a wide period, but it's probably going to be somewhere in the, 1400s to 1600s era, I would guess.
Well, why you guess? What's making you guess that? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, because I have no idea, but why do you think that is the case?
Just gut feeling.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. Let's see. I was also wondering, like, who was it named after, right? Like Penna.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
what is that?
There could be like a pina.
Yeah, could there? I see King John II of Portugal. He was king of Portugal from 1481 to his death in 1495. So
that's a pretty short reign.
That is a short reign, but it is also, it is it is a rain during those times in which you were talking. So just bringing it up. There's a lot of Brazil talk in here, obviously, because that's where a lot of the Portuguese went to Brazil. Oh, a lot of explorers went to Brazil, but yeah, I don't. Well, I don't. I mean, I'm a quarter of the way through the page. This is a huge page, folks. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're bored one day and you're thinking, gosh, what am I going to do? Head on over to the Age of Discovery page, and it will take up a good amount of your time.
King Afonso V was king of Portugal from 1438 until 1481.
Okay.
So that was a nice long time.
So you like Afonso V rather than Afonso IV, who I found earlier.
You found Alfonso IV? I thought
not Alfonso, Afonso. There's no L.
Alfonso. I guess I would want the longer serving of the folks.
Well, let me see. I didn't look at Afonso IV's reign, so I have to get. Oh, what do you got? What do you got?
So, under Portuguese exploration after Prince Henry in 1460, Pedro de Sintra.
Yeah.
And if you recall from the one of the few facts my brother shared about the Peña Palace was that it is in the city of Sintra. So Pedro de Sintra gets us to Sintra without having to sully ourselves by going to something as broad and geographic as Portugal.
Interesting. See, I was saying the name of that city wrong. I was saying Centra. I thought there was an N in there. So, or an E or a.
No, it's like Sinatra, but without that first A.
Gotcha. So where did you see this?
So under Portuguese exploration after Prince Henry, which I'm guessing by the sidebar scroll is, I would say maybe.
Oh, I got it. I found it. I see it.
Yeah, Pedro de Sintra, and I believe.
Sintra.
And again,
okay.
This is where all of my multilingual friends will point out my ignorance here. I believe that, like when people's names have like de, like Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo from Vinci. So I think Pedro de Sintra could get us to the city of Sintra.
All right, let's give it a try.
Right.
Pedro de Sintra.
Pedro de Sintra.
Oh my God, this is a little tiny page.
It is a very tiny page.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
It's so small. And
this is the worst choice.
It was the worst idea ever.
Oh no. Oh no.
There is a link to Professor here.
Well, there's a link to Portuguese, meaning the Portuguese people. So, I mean, I'm gonna have us take that.
There's only like 8 links. So there's Portuguese, West African coast, Sierra Leone, Professor, area being colonized, which takes you to the colony and protectorate of Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Kingdom of Benin. So this was a horrible idea.
Absolutely terrible choice. And I am going to say we've got to go through the Portuguese people. I don't think it makes any sense to go through anything else.
I think you're absolutely right. There we are.
All right. Portuguese people is where we're headed now. Yikes. That was a tough one.
Yes.
Portuguese people. Sorry, I'm typing it into my spreadsheet here. So this is a much bigger page.
Yeah.
This is a much bigger page. And I'll tell you what, I would guess that this is going to get us to at least the city, to Sintra.
Let's hope.
But who knows? Maybe this is all about the people, obviously, but hopefully there are links on here to like where they live and things like that as well.
Indeed.
Portuguese language, Portuguese culture. If we can't find anything else, might be a good one to go through.
Ooh, there's a link to the Age of Exploration.
Oh, yeah. If only we had taken a better route out of there. Oh, we had so many great options out of that, and you tricked me into taking a.
I got excited. I was wrong. I freely admit I was incredibly wrong. And there you have it.
Sorry, I didn't want to say anything over that so that I could take that out and sample it and just use it over and over and over again.
There you go.
I was wrong.
Mark the day.
Wrong. Yeah, I don't need to mark the day. I'm just going to record it. I'm just going to use that recording over and over again I'm going to put it on a soundboard so I can just bring it up anytime I need. So I'm seeing a lot. I mean, there's a lot in here about a lot of different places. Um, I haven't seen Sintra mentioned yet, nor have I seen this particular palace mentioned. But I wonder if it's going to talk about Spinoza at all.
He's on here. I just passed by him.
Is that right? Oh, so there you
Yeah,
go.
there's a
So,
section for nowadays,
oh,
which is very weird. So it's under the broader category of the Portuguese diaspora.
oh, I see.
Spinoza was part of the diaspora, which doesn't really help us because we want to get
Again,
uh,
inside Portugal instead
inside
of
Portugal.
yeah. Boy, oh boy, Portuguese Parliament. There's a lot of a lot. There it is. There's this is probably where you just were. A lot of names of famous folks from Portugal. Like California's linked on here, so
Is it now?
we can get to California if we so desired. A lot of things about outside of Portugal in Europe, etc., etc. Do you see anything about like the royalty of or like the rulers of Portugal anywhere? You see anything like that?
No, I mean this is more honestly. This is more biological. I'm seeing a lot like
Oh
about
yes,
ethnicity and things along those lines.
yeah.
I'm not
Oh for
sure about
sure.
like the political structure.
No, but there's things about like the history and things like that. And I was hoping that there would be, oh, this particular line continued on for whatever and stuff like that. But no, doesn't seem to be the case. I've reached the sea also, which is of course kind of the bottom of where we can be. So I'm gonna say that Portuguese culture link is a good one to go to. And I mean, unless you just want to go to Portugal, if you want to give up and just go to Portugal, we can do that. But I
Where's
like
the Portuguese
culture. It is. I've lost it, of course, so I'm trying to find it again. So give me a moment. Oh, here it is. It is under historical, or it's under ancestry, and then historical origins and genetics, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs down. On the last line, it says the Romans also left a major impact on the population, both genetically and in Portuguese culture. The Portuguese language derives mostly from Latin.
All right, culture of Portugal.
You like it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see what happens.
I've forfeit the right for at least a link or two to opine because my
because of Pedro. Yeah, Pedro, take it out of you every time. All right, so here we are on the culture. So here we are definitely going to see some things about like the here's independent kingdom. I already see the kingdom of Portugal.
There's an architecture section.
Oh,
and there's
architecture's good.
Yeah. There's a link to the Age of Discoveries.
Again, not helpful. That architecture.
Here. I'm seeing some palaces.
Yeah.
Portuguese colonial architecture.
Yeah.
I am not seeing what we want to see.
Nope.
All right.
Me neither. There's film.
But there is. I mean, there's definitely links to specific buildings within Portugal that might be part of a list of like, hey, famous Portuguese buildings. So that might be a possible. There's also a link to the architecture of Portugal. Okay, that might be like the main article that we go to that would have more buildings listed because this is just a stub for Portuguese culture. So I like architecture of Portugal as a strong possibility there.
Oh, I see. Oh, and I also just found Alfonso V, which is interesting because it's King Alfonso V on the page, but the page that you go to is Afonso with no L, the fifth. So I wonder if the one you were looking at, what that was. But okay, well, I mean, I don't mind that. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that's closer to what we're looking for, but you may have found it here with this architecture page, because I am not seeing a whole lot else on here. The Epiphany is on here, so if we needed to get to that again, There's a lot of celebrations of different holidays listed here.
Interesting.
May 1st is coming up. That's Labor Day. April 25th.
Speaking of socialism.
Freedom Day. So there you go. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot better than your architecture idea here. Now, if I were to find Sintra actually on here, would you go through that, or would you say architecture is probably the better path, right? Because Sintra is going to be
Sintra would be geographical,
Yeah.
and I feel like architecture of Portugal is
not
certainly not a lock, but at least a strong possibility for us.
Yeah, well, and definitely not geographical at that point. So,
we've already burst the geographical bubble by clicking on the Portuguese people. So
I mean, kind of. Not really, right? I mean, we didn't go to Portugal itself, so I feel like it's a little different, at least the Portuguese people. List of museums in Portugal is on here, as is a historic villages of Portugal is listed here as well. But I'm guessing that they wouldn't be on it wouldn't be on either of those particular pages. So. Yeah, I don't see anything better than this architecture what that you were discussing earlier.
I know that pains you, Matt.
It does a little bit. Although I did skip history of Portugal is on here. We could go to history of Portugal.
Yeah, but we don't know anything about this Peña Palace.
No, I agree. There are World Heritage sites. 15 UNESCO World Heritage sites are on here. So we could go through that.
Are we really roll the dice on that? I mean,
Yeah.
It could be one.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, capitals of culture. No, bullfighting, bull rings. Okay, architecture of Portugal. I think that's the way to go.
All right, let's do it.
Which, of course, takes you to Portuguese architecture. We have been talking about Portugal here now for so long.
Hey, Matt, you see those pretty pictures on the right-hand side of the page?
Yeah, I do see those, yeah.
Why don't you read the caption to those pretty pictures?
It says, clockwise, Paint a Palace. Hey, there it is.
There we go.
It's the first one.
All right,
well,
then.
We found it.
Good.
Let's get there then.
All right.
There it is. Pena, right? That's how it's pronounced, Pena?
That's my understanding.
Pena Palace is a Romanist castle in São Pedro de Penaferrum.
And it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Oh, see? We could have gone that way too, but either way. It's one of the 7 wonders of Portugal. I didn't realize that.
I didn't know Portugal had 7 wonders.
So there you go. It looks like King John II was the one who no, I'm not going to read too much about this, but maybe King John II would have worked out for us. So, well, there it is. We have found it. We have ventured through Pedro de Sintra, who did not, unfortunately, talk about where he was from Let's Trim Our Hair, in accordance with the Socialist Lifestyle, all the way to Pena Palace. It has taken us, Jethro, 7 links to arrive here. What did you say? Did you say 7?
I guessed infinity.
Can't say
what I guessed.
You did?
No, I actually guessed 8.
You guessed 8. You guessed 8.
I turned it on its side for a clever joke about how it was.
I guessed this thing that
it looks like a 5 that you're holding in a different
2
way.
If you turn it this way. No, I did. I guessed 5. And 8. Unfortunately, we don't have our rules in place like The Price is Right, so you don't have to be closest without going over. So you are the closest with 8. You thought you didn't have any faith in us, man.
Listen, I always have faith in us, but the 2 obstacles that made me feel like it was going to take longer is, number one, the total lack of information that my brother was able to provide with regard to the palace, and also I knew that we would resist the geographic route for as long as possible, and I certainly encourage that.
Yeah, of course you did, having written down 8, and that's why you gave us Pedro de Sintra. So well done, well played, sir.
That was an earnest effort to get there.
No way.
I mean, if we'd have gone your way, we would have gotten there like 3 by going through Western Hemisphere. So
I mean, Western Hemisphere probably would have gotten us there pretty quickly. Yeah, it's tough to say. I have to guess that there's something other than Pedro off of the Age of Discovery that would have gotten us here much more quickly. But who's to say what it would have been? There were all kinds of things on there that we could have gone through. King John II of Portugal, for instance, I'd like to think would have gotten us there, but I'm looking quickly to see if that's actually the case. In fact, I can just do a Control F because Pena Palace is not on his page. Is Sintra on his page? No, so neither of those. So it might have gotten us here a little quicker because there were some other things to go off of. But
what about the links here? Does that link still exist? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, that never worked correctly. I feel like that was always a bit of a thing. Actually, it's gone. You're right. That whole sidebar is gone.
I guess they got your criticism that it didn't work. So
yeah, well, they probably listen to our podcast all the time and decided
we're huge within Wikipedia.
Oh, giant.
Among our
no, go ahead. What did you say?
I said among our dozens of listeners.
Dozens and dozens. It's been great. Hey, but we appreciate each and every one of you. So thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Next week, we'll head away from Pena Palace off to who knows where. But if you want to find out, you got to join us. So come along on the walk next week, everybody.
Yeah.